Hey gang, what's going on? Sorry about that. We had a weird glitch right when we launched this, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, but we didn't have any audio, and we got stuck in an endless intro loop. So we had to, and then when I tried to cancel the stream and back out of it just to come back in the studio, I got somehow locked out, and so I think it's the deep state. I'm not sure. So we're just going to cold open today. See, this is what happens. Xander took one day off, and he texted me, and he said, "Hey, I have been, on this thing, and I just need a day. Is it all right if I don't come in today and do this?" And I was like, "Dude, spend time with your family. It's not a big deal, really. I totally have this." And of course, I did not have it. I don't know what happened. So sorry, guys, but we're here now. And Xander, are you here? Are you in the studio? He might be coming in to save us.
I just joined to try and help you.
No one can help us. Oh, actually, or maybe only you can help us. I think that's...
Do you want me to invite all the other guys again?
Yes.
I'll be on my merry way. Have a good.
Apologize to your wife for me, please. She's gonna kill me.
I'll send some invites out, and have fun. Here comes the doom.
Okay. Thank you, Xander. This is how it goes, guys. No one else is doing this kind of content. How you doing, Pablo?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a busy week, and you did a wonderful video about They Walk Among Us. I watched that whole thing. You seem to want to get a mullet, don't you?
I'm just enthusiastic when people get creative and have a little style, because it's like, I don't know, man. UFO people have style.
Is Dan on stage right now?
Dan is on stage. Let's bring him in. There he is.
What's up?
Hey, man. All right. I think we're up and running. Xander came in and saved the day.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we on? Show's happening? We're in?
We're live right now.
Oh, what's
People
up?
in the chat are like, no mullets, please.
No mullets, please. I think it's because you have to. Well, I love that interview. So I was looking. The point is not that I did a cool video, which I thought was actually as I was doing it, I was like, this is awful. It's going to be dog shit. And
no.
I was just like going through what I knew about the topic and watching this thing. But when I was prepping to do the video and I was looking for interviews with Bob Dean, and Dan, we've joked about this guy forever.
I love Bob Dean so much.
He's the best. And I found that UFO Arizona, whatever that show was, and it's so good. But the real credit goes to Vinny at Disclosure Team for talking to James Fox and getting that interview with James Fox where he mentioned the Bigelow thing. I've got that clip too. I could show people. But that was cool, man. Very weird.
That was a great video. Really good video. This Walk Among Us stuff is I'm in. I'm so in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the new trailer for the Disclosure Day?
Of course.
We did.
What did you
can't
think?
play it here because you're going to get copyright stricken, so we can't play it here.
Yeah, that's a bummer too. It was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah. Apparently hybrids and some sort of bilocation or remote viewing are confirmed in the film.
Yeah.
And then the Roswell thing, Dan did a wonderful slowing down of the Roswell sequence. And there seems to be a guy that is like taking something from the ground that seems like a body, right?
Something like that. It's hard to tell on purpose.
Yeah.
Purposely deceiving. But I put on my Twitter and speculated that, like, how cool would it be if this was actual footage snuck into the film? Man, people got so mad at me for like implying that, guys, I'm just having fun. Just having fun. Just speculating.
They always do. They look dumb. It's like,
crazy.
It's just a movie. It's like, we know, dude.
Yeah, it is a movie, but Spielberg historically sneaks in stuff to most of his films. So he has a history of it. I'm pumped.
I'm way more pumped than I was. I don't know what it is about the last couple Spielberg movies, but I just I don't know. I feel like he's made so many films now that it's sort of I don't know. They don't have the same kind of magic that they maybe once did for me, but I'm hoping that's going to change. Maybe I just felt that way about War of the Worlds.
But also, like, he just directed so many movies that shaped our complete childhoods, where it's hard to live up to that and have it have as much of an impact to us personally, like as adults, than they did when we were kids, I think.
do you think that's an accident?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, there are people who have a real interest in shaping the way a whole generation sees the world. And I think that, you know, in the, I talk about it a lot in Lou Elizondo's book, Imminent, in the foreword is written by Chris Mellon. And Chris Mellon talks about how the CIA hired Disney to basically put out propaganda for them about the UFO topic. And Bob Dean actually in this particular interview mentions it, how the media landscape was really deliberately influenced so that we would think certain things and believe certain things. And it's interesting because there's it seems like some of that stuff is bearing fruit now as we start to get into this weird new phase of like what might be the early days of a third world war. There's all of this sort of lore wrapped into the UFO mystery that seems to sort of have Diana Pasulka called it a decentralized religion. And she was like, it's got like there's a creation myth, there's a end of days scenario, there's like a return, there's a hierarchy of beings, like all the framework of a religion is there, but it's somehow it's transposed onto this, you know, UFO non-human intelligence sort of thing. And I'm noticing like there was an interview that went up on Sean Ryan's channel with this Catholic bishop. Did you guys see this?
He was cool. Yeah, the demons guy.
The demons guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch that part about the aliens? We talked about that?
No, we haven't talked about it, but I saw it. We should talk about it.
He says that about 8 out of 10 people that were like exorcised saw gray aliens and UFOs.
Well, he's straight up demons on NHI. He's like, they're straight demons.
He said, yeah, the demons when people are being exorcised, the demons come out of their body and they look like the classic gray alien, and they're like the great deceivers and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and isn't that what Aleister Crowley encountered with what was his name, the little guy,
Vern
Jack
Troyer?
Parsons.
The Vern Troyer.
Imagine Aleister Crowley and Vern Troyer just chilling out.
Wee man.
Justin's working on it right now. It's gonna be a new spinoff. What was the little demon guy that he contacted? He was using some kind of black magic, and he reached out and made contact with this little being.
And it looks like a gray, right?
Right. It looks like a gray. Somebody in the chat will find it. They know. But this interview was really interesting because not because he's all in on demons. I think we should watch it actually, because Sean Ryan's actually pretty cool about letting people show clips of his show. I think we could probably do the whole 5. It's like 8 minutes maybe, but he's gives us kind of a window into what this whole other organization thinks about, or at least a part of this organization thinks about what's going on right now. And I don't agree with it, but it's an interesting explanation of their view. Like he was saying, like all the hardware that we have, that stuff that demons just manifests out of like thin air, and all of the abduction and contact stories that we hear, same thing. See if I could find this clip, and we'll show people.
It's interesting.
I may have some news on Robert Bigelow's thing on about the Trump disclosure speech. So whenever you're ready, let me know.
So I've got a Bigelow clip ready to go. And then let me show the disclosure team clip, because this is the one we teed up. This is Vinny interviewing James Fox, and he's going to talk about Bigelow and set up kind of one of the topics for today, and then we'll come back and we can keep going with.
Let's
with
do
your,
it.
Hang on, here we go. Let's do Virginia update. Okay. James Fox had a conversation with Bob Bigelow. Here's what they talked about.
Caught his attention, and he actually invited me to have lunch at his house. And he talked to me about the impact that this story would have on the world population. And I remember him talking about religious institutions, financial institutions, talked about collapse. He was like, take every scandal you've ever heard in the history of the world, in the modern world, and multiply that by 1,000. And that's the impact this story would have. Now, at the time, I was thinking to myself, you know, I don't really believe that. I think it would be a really unifying thing, moment. And I'm perhaps just what, you know, we, the people that our race, the species of this planet need as sort of a unifying moment to know that we're not alone, that there's an outside, you know, and that's the way I've kind of always looked at it. But people that I trust, you know, people that have looked into it, like Hal Puthoff had talked about it, not just the ontological shock of it, but the, you know, the technology, for instance, if we did recover this technology, that's, you know, the pros and cons of releasing that, you know, the impact that it would have on a religion and all, like I said, financial, all these things. So now I'm kind of leaning more in the direction of, I think it would be really shocking to a lot of people. I think we'd get over it, but I think it would be pretty shocking. Yeah, I do. I mean, particularly if they're walking among us. I say, let's say they are, but, you know, that would be pretty shocking.
Did Bigelow say anything about that to you when you were at that meeting? Because he's said that publicly, didn't he, on that 60 Minutes?
Well, he didn't say it publicly, but he said it to me. But he didn't tell me not to talk about it. And so after like a decade, I was like, I'm going to talk about it. He said they're walking among us. And again, to your audience, James Fox says they're walking among us. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Bigelow told me that they're walking among us. Because I said, what do you mean by that? He goes, I mean exactly that. They are walking among us.
Wow.
All right.
Sorry guys, what do you think?
I kind of have a new theory, and I don't know about you guys, but I've heard more than a couple times from people that one of the big problems with talking about this topic from like a government perspective is the genetics aspect, that's kind of bigger than the craft, bigger than the bodies. But I think this might be the big thing. Part of me thinks this might be the big thing, because if there are hybrids in our society, which is a wild thing to really think about, how do you tell humanity that there's something amongst you that you can't see? That's a really weird thing to tell people. And I think it'd be easier to say, like, hey, there's aliens amongst us. They look like grays, you know, the classic gray. So at least you can spot it if it's around you. But this will be like a whole new kind of like McCarthyism and like the witch trials of like, are you human? I think it might be a really weird thing to tell people.
Yeah, and I think this is why we've talked about this before. In the conversations that I've had with John Burroughs, who is like the Rendlesham Forest, one of the people who had that experience in Rendlesham, whenever I asked him about the DNA and what he was told about the DNA by Dr. Kit Green, he refused to go into details because he said that it would be like X-Men scenario, but on steroids, and it was a really weird example that he gave, I think. And he also thinks that there is something to psi abilities and that it's related to that. But yeah, we can go back to Dr. Dean Radin's work where he found that gene in people that was erased during the Inquisition. And it goes back millennia. If it's real, it should go back millennia, that not everybody is completely human amongst the entire population. I don't know
But
if
what would it?
Spielberg is going to touch on that, but it's
Well, I think
possible.
it seems like based on that trailer, that's where they're going, right? There's
Mhm.
some really clear references to the remote viewing world and telepathy and some. I mean, I was really surprised how much they showed.
Yeah.
Yep.
There. So, what was the Trump thing? Bigelow is he the guy? Is he the source?
So we have to go back to November 14th, 2022. There was a fundraiser in Florida for Trump, and Bigelow was one of the attendees. The minimum to don't as a donor would have to be between 800,000 and $1 million. So uh, Bigelow was one of the donors there, so he donated $1 million to be at that dinner. And presumably, when they were at that dinner, that's probably when they made contact. And I would think that he was like probably trying to get Trump to talk about this. But I didn't know that it was real. And of course, I'm talking about Mark Christopher Lee and the whole story about the Trump speech and all that. But I started asking around between amongst people who know Robert Bigelow and who talk to Robert Bigelow. One of them is his friend, and this person responded back this morning, and they told me that Robert Bigelow was pissed off that the information got out, and that he wasn't going to do the May 1st alleged speech anymore because Mark was way too fast and he didn't like that his text was shared. So he's not happy about it. But apparently, and I'm going to try to get a different confirmation, but this source that I'm talking to is a good friend of Bigelow's. So apparently, Bigelow is trying to get Trump to do something, to disclose.
So
Now, in terms of the speech, I didn't get confirmation about the speech, but I did get a hint that he was pissed off at Mark for saying what he said. So presumably they did speak, they did
Interesting.
communicate.
and Bigelow was supposed to have his own press conference May 1st.
That
and
was
then,
that's what Mark said, that on May 1st that there was going to be a press conference, but now none of that is going to happen because of how public and sloppy
what is
everything
Bigelow
was.
doing? What is he doing now? Is he still involved somehow?
I didn't ask that. I will, now that you
surprised.
asked.
'Cause he's
I
been pretty
would be
quiet on this topic.
surprised if he wasn't.
Me too,
Yeah.
but have you heard anything for years about like what he might be doing?
The last thing I heard was those books that he gave away to a lot of people about consciousness. There were like a bunch of really big red books.
Oh, I think Georg got one.
That was the last thing, and it wasn't that long ago. It was like a couple years ago or something like that.
That was his
or-
afterlife study.
Yeah,
They were trying to prove the existence of the afterlife. He's always into something. Like, first of all, he's a hotel magnate. If I'm using that term correctly, he made his fortune in hotels. And then I remember first hearing about Bob Bigelow about maybe 10 or 15 years ago, when he was becoming known at that time for these inflatable space habitats that Bigelow Aerospace was designing. And his idea was like, you could send these things up and then they would inflate and fill up with water somehow, and then they would be these like giant space hotels. That was the idea. And I don't know whatever happened with that particular project, but that was when he first popped onto my radar. And then the more I looked into him, every time I find something on this guy, he's doing a study on remote viewing, or he's hiring a bunch of remote viewers to look at stuff. I think he's sort of like the Tony Stark of the UFO world. I think he's in the background, like probably hustling a bunch of shit that we can't see, and he probably likes it that way.
Yep.
Yeah, that tracks.
And I mean,
He's like the eccentric billionaire that's on an 80s episode of the A-Team.
Totally.
like the guy that they cut to, he's got the Vincent Price mustache and the cool hair, and he's like, he owns this weird shadowy organization that does something no one understands quite yet, but it's going to be important later. And that's it. Like, that's who he is to me.
Yeah. He's not the muscly bad guy. He's the brains of the organization. He's the last boss. You know.
And that guy is telling you they walk among us, and not like maybe.
And laughing.
That guy was,
Yeah.
and that guy was also denied apparently material from by Glenn Gaffney.
Correct.
And it was supposed to be taken to Pax River, wasn't it?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Allegedly, right?
Yeah.
So that we had a person in our chat flagged this, and I know we're jumping back and forth between the disclosure speech and the hybrid walking among us thing, but I just want to highlight this chat that came through, and it was who was it? Here we go. Regarding hybrids, the smoking gun is the Stacy Plaskett clip from 2023 with her staffer aide in the background. This is the weirdest thing. Watch this, guys. Oh, Eric's here. Okay, hold on. Eric, I'm going to bring you in. Just 1 second. We're going to go to this.
He's probably been there for like 10 minutes already.
He's like, guys, what's going on?
These guys need therapy.
We definitely do. Here we go. So this clip went viral a while ago, and this is Stacy Plaskett delivering some kind of speech on something very boring. But her aide is sitting behind her, and you can watch this woman's face. And I don't know what a hybrid alien looks like, but if I had to guess, it probably looks something like this.
Page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employee Roya Demlow, who you just spoke about, which took place on July 17, 2023. In that line, she says, the question was asked, okay, if someone were to leave here today, were to leave this interview and were to suggest or imply that when you said the laptop was real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020 that the laptop belonged to Hunter Biden, that the contents belonged to Hunter Biden, and that the contents had not been manipulated in some way, would they be representing what you said, correct? Answer by Ms. Demlow. They would be representing what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that. They would be misrepresenting.
Super weird.
Yep. And this goes back to the some of the reports that I've seen from Chris Sharp, for example. And when I spoke to Burleson, I asked him about this, that the staffers seem to be the ones that run the show in many respects, especially with the older Congress people and the older senators, that the staffers are the ones that make the decisions, and they make it seem like they're taking work off their load, but you know, it feels weird that they have so much control. Oh,
that's how I've got to take this off the screen. That's how Dick Cheney kind of ran the Bush administration. He was like, I'll take all this off your plate. Don't worry.
No. So what's going on? Stop it. Stop it. No, I need to get off this plane right now. I need to get the off this plane. We're going to the gate. See what happens. See what happens after this. See what happens. Where's your bag? Is your bag still over there? Yes. See what the happens after she has her bag on. I don't even give a about my
Here we go.
I'm telling you, I'm getting the off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two but I am telling you right now, that back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can die with them or not. I'm not going to.
What the fuck?
yeah. Miss Tiffany Gomez, that's her name. I covered that ad nauseum at my previous job, and it was really weird because she disappeared for like months, and then when she came back, she didn't really say what she saw, and she wanted to like, not give it so much importance, but the video is pretty clear, right? Like,
Well, either
she was
she's super
definitely-
high.
she was definitely freaked out about something. Maybe she was
do you
high.
think? You think
I mean,
she's
she
freaked
just
out?
probably took a bunch of drugs before she got on the plane. I mean, I don't know. Like, who among us has not taken a gummy or 3 or 5 and then gotten
Come
on a
on,
plane
man.
and fucking flown somewhere? I mean, come on. Let's be real.
Yeah,
and
You,
so
you
I'm
even
not
see
saying I don't
elves
want
and
to.
shit.
I'm not saying that's her, and I'm not. I don't want to paint her with a bad brush or anything. I'm just saying that it's definitely. I mean,
Man,
Possible,
what
yeah.
if? Oh my god, what if she was right? What if she
was right,
saw like either a being or some kind of shape-shifty reptile-eyed motherfucker? Who knows?
Yeah, it's probable.
I think
that
she's crazy,
She
but-
maybe saw somebody shapeshift. You mean that's
Maybe,
possible?
maybe.
Billy Corgan swears he saw a shapeshifter.
Dude,
You've
I've
seen
tried
this
to get
bit?
that story. I've tried to get that story out of him 2 different times, and he will not talk about it. He won't give any details.
Oh my God.
Eric,
Hey, Eric,
There he is. I'm so sorry, Eric. We got on this topic, and I completely forgot.
how you doing?
I'm such an asshole.
I'm doing really good. You said, "Oh, he's probably been here 10 minutes." I'm really embarrassed. I hate to admit this. I thought yesterday was Friday. I've been sitting here for 23 hours.
Oh, let's see that. That happens to me all the time.
Clint just did the equivalent of leaving his dog in the car. Sorry, Eric. You're good to have you back. Here.
I'm so sorry, man. Yeah, this is what happens when Xander isn't here. So for the people who wonder, like, what does a producer do? Like, what does he actually do? He fucking does it a lot, and
Keeps it on the rails.
It shows
Clint, you're doing great.
100%. Eric, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It's nice to be here as usual. They walk among us. I have not heard that the first time before. I think I first heard it from Gary Nolan, said something to that effect. And I have been following the General McCasland case very carefully. I don't have any more answers than anyone here. I just find it super interesting. As a lot of people know, I'm really familiar with the mountains. I've been on a couple searches myself in my former life as a backcountry ranger. And I don't know where this guy is. I can't.
Well,
even
tell
guess.
us, bring people up to speed, because this is a story I have not followed, and I know there are people who also are getting up to speed on this. So tell people, I'm going to find a picture of him and put it up on the screen.
I
Can you
did
walk
share-
us through?
I did share the video on the chat. The latest update. It's from Fox News, but UAP James posted it on X. Maybe you can play that if you want.
Oh, on
Yeah,
X?
I think that's more relevant. Yeah.
And someone explain like who
But
he
I
was.
put it in
case
the
someone doesn't
private
know.
chat. Yeah.
Let me grab it in the private chat.
Pavel, who is General McCasland?
General McCasland is a former major general who was retired. He had been retired for at least 4 or 5 years when he met Tom DeLonge. And in the Hillary Clinton leaked emails from WikiLeaks, he was mentioned in an exchange between him and John Podesta. That was the very first time that anybody knew his name publicly. And there's a bunch of people talking about how much he's been privy to information about UFOs. They think, or they claim, that he's like all the way in.
They claim that
and
he's been
he-
briefed on the craft and the bodies, right?
Yes,
He's
and
a pretty down.
he ran the technology department at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is, one of the biggest places for the UFO lore. And on February 27th, I believe, at 3 p.m., he was reported missing after a few hours that his wife arrived at the home and she realized that he wasn't there. He left his prescription glasses, his phone, and his iWatch, and he took a 38 caliber revolver with him.
Sidearm.
Yeah, which is strange. Not gonna lie, but this update from Fox News and clip by UAP James is the latest update on McCasland.
Here, let's take a look here.
last seen at his home in Albuquerque on February 27th. They believe the retired Air Force general left his house on foot and then vanished. He left his phone and prescription glasses at his house, but his wallet and a .38 caliber revolver are said to be missing. A statement from the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office says he's an avid hiker, and while there's no sign of foul play, they say it's, quote, unlike Neil to be out of touch from his family and friends for this length of time. And they've issued a silver alert, which in New Mexico applies to missing people over 50 who may have cognitive or medical issues that could put them in danger. Before retiring in 2013, McCasland commanded the research lab at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, one of the military's most advanced research hubs. The base has long been the subject of speculation and conspiracy theories, claiming debris from the alleged Roswell UFO crash was stored there. But investigators say there's no evidence McCasland's disappearance has anything to do with his work there. And trying to put online rumors to rest, his wife Susan posted on Facebook saying even if there was a connection, quote, with absolutely no sign of him, maybe the best hypothesis is that aliens beamed him up to the mothership. However, no sightings of a mothership hovering above the Sandia Mountains have been reported. Multiple agencies are combing the area where McCasland was last seen.
Wasn't that stupid? What the fuck was that?
That's weird. If my wife was missing, I can't imagine making that comment or joke or what. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she was serious, but that was out of place and strange.
Maybe they have a twisted sense of humor. Who knows?
That's possible. I mean, maybe I would say that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe Dan would say something morbid like that.
Probably.
What do you think, Eric? What's your take on this? You've been following it closely. What do you make of it?
Well, I appreciate Pavel sharing that, and now I'm kind of in a. I have to be very careful what I say. I determined prior to this conversation, if a firearm is missing, I'm very confident I know what happened.
I think Jason Sands spoke about that in a recent Twitter space. He seems to think that it was intentional by McCasland because he took the gun, that he went into hiding. That's what Jason Sands is claiming. Do you think the same way?
Yes.
Okay. Why would that like MO make you think that?
I was going with statistical likelihood, not specific to McCasland, but specific to who a person of what characteristics is proven more likely to do something like this. Okay, so as we were looking at that update, I quick pulled up. This is when I was getting my master's in clinical social work, and what I did a paper. Doesn't seem to have a title. It's so long. Okay, but the data is a little bit dated, but it will hold true. And what I did is I've always had a interest in veteran mental health, and through personal experiences, I've had an interest in people suddenly dying unexpectedly. We could just put it that way. Okay. I took all the data in 2019 that I could find and ran it through and created a matrix of, well, who would be most likely to do such a thing? Okay. And there are a couple of characteristics, and I'll be brief here, but I have a one paragraph. Can't believe I kept this paper. It's about 10 years old. I kept this one paragraph, and it says, this white male who has never served in direct combat, there are two right there, nor received a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder, served in the military prior to the Gulf War. Those are three characteristics that align. Graduated from high school, but did not attend college. That misaligns. Was married, separated, or divorced, not single, not widowed. Older than 60s, approaching 70. There are a couple states that is most likely to occur in. That is not one of them. And then let me put this away for a second. The overwhelming characteristic that puts somebody at risk is hopelessness. It is not depression, not anxiety, not a divorce, not financial trouble. It's not that. It's a feeling that there is no hope left. Now, in no way am I claiming I have some kind of insight and this is what happened. I'm just saying there are certain characteristics that match. And personally, I had a theory. I don't know where he is. I don't know how he disappeared. I don't think he was taken. I'm just kind of running through the scenarios. When I was in the shower last night, it occurred to me, I said, if a firearm is missing, I am leaning toward a particular outcome. That is just my personal opinion. It is not to be stated as fact or even a presumption.
It's interesting because there's a guy that I used to follow really closely named what is his name? It escapes me. He made a documentary called Collapse. Michael Rupert. And he was one of the peak oil people, and he had a lot of ideas about the collapse of society. And anyway, the point is that he is one of those people. He was an LAPD detective who, took his own life at the end of his life. And the reason I know this is because when he did it, he was very methodical about leaving a note, making sure he would be found, making sure it was clear what happened and people were aware. Like he thought he approached it the way that he knew a homicide detective would approach the case, and he laid it all out for them so that it was clear what had happened. And I wonder, when it comes to a situation where someone feels hopeless and they feel like, and I'm not saying that that's what you're saying, and we're not saying that's what happened, but hypothetically, for someone in that situation, is there any data on, like, do they want to be found? Do they want people to know? Do they want to just vanish without a trace? I mean, how often is it one or the other?
Great question. By the way, I just remembered the most likely month is April, and we are now almost into April. A lot of people think it happens around Christmas or the holidays, and there's a specific reason why that does not occur. So there are two pieces of data that align here. One, it does not occur in general around the holidays. Okay, there's a reason for that. A subgroup that experiences this outcome at an above average rate are farmers. Okay, not many people know that. All right. What these have in common is privacy. It is a private matter where people like to be isolated. Okay. In general, it happens in private, it happens in isolated areas. Okay. That would also align. I'm familiar with many cases in the mountains here and in the Adirondack Mountains of upstate New York, where I am, where this happened in remote sections of the mountain. Okay. There are a couple misunderstandings. Oh, people are going to give away their things. People are going to leave a note. It's usually not like that. It's usually spontaneous. Okay. It's a rash decision most of the time. It's not particularly thought out. It can be considered. Some action could have been taken in the past, but in the moment, it's a rather fleeting thought. So what you're trying to do is adjust to a situation with the most serious solution possible, and that's just a severe mismatch. So there are some myths about, clues or something like that. I've told my clients all the time, especially my male clients who are depressed, never, ever cross access to a firearm with anything that intoxicates. That is a lethal recipe often. I know many people this has happened to, okay? But again, I was thinking what could have happened. I decided if I hear news about a missing firearm, I might think that. But again, this is not news. Eric
Right.
Schlimmer does not know. I'm just going with the data and my own personal qualitative experiences.
What is the correlation between some of the other statistics that you were listing earlier and the likelihood of someone taking their own life? Is it like the military service, the age thing, like the month? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Right. The month is really interesting. And the theory is that you tough it out through winter. Spring, things are going to change. This is going to be a fresh start, and things are really going to start to turn around. You get into March, you get into April, and you're not feeling any better. Okay. Again, the main emotion is just raw hopelessness. Again, and then there's the privacy factor, especially with farmers. The farmer aspect, it's a little off topic here, but I've looked into it. It occurs for three reasons: privacy, access to a firearm, and you're surrounded by death. Death isn't a particularly big deal for a farmer. You have calves dying, you have horses dying, et cetera, et cetera. They probably hunt. So, that's what a lot of people have been doing, is to build these matrices of likelihood, and then you can find those people that match the matrix and give them the most support out of anybody from a population. Again, I'm just sharing statistics and data, and some of them just happen to meet McCasland by chance.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because it does seem like the mainstream media has picked up on this story. I saw it run on CNN, and Fox News is on it now. And it seems like the UFO angle is the predominant angle right now.
Mm-hmm.
That something
They all mention it. They all mention it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's on mainstream media and they are mentioning it, then that's something they really want you to know for one reason or another. I don't know what that reason is, but that's interesting. There was there's so many people that have gone missing or gotten unalived in just the last few weeks, really the last 4 months. I mean, what are we talking about? At least 2 engineers, two PhD physics guys that I can think of. McCasland is vanished without a trace. A few years ago, Ning Li, the famous anti-gravity researcher from Huntsville, Alabama, vanished. There were articles about her, like she just literally disappeared without a trace. No one knew what happened to her. And she was working on all kinds of really advanced stuff. There was an account, a Twitter account that I saw, and I think a lot of people saw this too. It was supposedly, Pablo, you know what I'm talking about here. It's the one that was supposedly him. He was there was a rumor that he was posting at this Twitter account anonymously.
Yes, and I just saw Chris Sharp asking for more details about this account because they seem to think that it was him because of all the propulsion information that he was posting in that account. Yeah, and something just got a little weirder. I just saw that
read that
people are posting a song that his wife, Susan McCasland, posted 5 years ago that talks about her man disappearing, and she refers to him as an owl. And I posted it in the private chat in case you want to play it, but the lyrics are there too. I posted the lyrics too.
I would just read the lyrics.
Yeah.
Who wants to read them? Do you want to read them?
Yeah.
Pavel.
No word he gave before he left one night, like an owl so silent in his flight. And my work and my world's so dark, I long for life. He's given me those deep, deep indigo blues. I'm deep in the dark, and I don't know what to do. And I swallowed him and left him blue. There was a time, it seems so long ago, I lived in a world of colors, all of it all. He was my man, oh yes, he was my boy. He's given me those deep, deep indigo blues. I'm deep in the dark and don't know what to do, and I swallowed him and left him blue. The moon, that fickle orbs. Oh,
Yep.
damn, dude. Sorry, I got lost. The moon, that fickle orb, has left me too. All the universe is now so untrue. No man, low light to guide. He's given me those deep, deep indigo blues. I'm deep in the dark and don't know what to do. And I swallowed him and left him blue. Yes, the midnight swallowed him and left no clue.
What?
Holy shit.
So what is the connection here? She posted this 5 years ago, and supposedly they're digging this up now.
Yeah, somebody dug it up.
Who wrote?
We
the
can leave
song?
it in the description.
She did. That's
She
McCasland's
did.
wife wrote that.
Yeah.
Oh. So what do we think what is the predominant line of thinking here that he has been disappeared in connection to his relationship with these advanced research projects, or he's left, or he's gone underground, or
I mean, you can think whatever you want about Jason Sands, but I think that what he said felt accurate to me. He said that whenever you're considered like a high priority person within these worlds, and they think that you could like jeopardize a mission or something, either you're like whether you're like on their side or not, they usually go and get you so they can hide you whenever things get more dicey. And yeah, that's what he said. That's what Jason Sands thinks that may have happened because of the revolver too. He was like, that fact alone makes me think that he didn't want to be found, and that he probably is with a friend or something hiding right now, because that's what's required of him at this moment.
Hey, Pavel, is there any? Have you been able to confirm whether or not he actually was standing by a bridge? Like, weren't the witnesses saying he was standing like by this weird like bridge or something?
Yeah, that was one of the
Like he was waiting
descriptions
for
that I
somebody?
read. Yeah, and that he seemed spaced out when he was spotted there near the bridge. But I only read that account from this person. I haven't really asked more people, because I have a friend who lives in the vicinity there, and this friend and their partner went to search for the searching team. They spoke to them, and this is when I told my friend, I was like, can you ask if he really is mentally impaired, or if he has dementia? Because that's what was reported initially from a Reddit post. And when they asked, the searching team was very confused, and one of them was even kind of angry that this was being discussed, that there was like even a talk of him being him having dementia or something similar. They completely denied that, and then the wife came out to deny it as well. And it just seems like, and even based on this song, maybe they already knew that this was going to happen. I don't know. Even the joke, is weird. This is weirdly placed, as if it's no big deal. Maybe they knew,
Or maybe she knows where he is. By the way, this
Yeah.
this Twitter page, that's alleged to be him. This Twitter page has me blocked.
Yeah, it has a lot of people blocked. It has.
I've never heard of it before. I've never seen this page before.
Yeah,
Here we
I'm
go.
it has a
you
bunch of
blocked?
people blocked.
I know, I'm on it
not.
right now. This is
Um,
bunched zone of heat, supersaturated electrons not propagating due to statistically two-dimensional compression from bunched laminar zone. Longitudinal waves bounce between fuselage skin and outer plasma envelope.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I was right there. Brown Cahill method. Oh, Brown Cahill method for the reduction of kinetic permittivity. Oh,
Permittivity? Permittivity. Good
Gesundheit.
word.
It's my safe word.
Yeah. Oh, permittivity.
Get it right. The ability to move frictional electrons across an external surface of the slow ions dimensional space is a novel concept not found in textbooks or patents. Interesting. So supposedly this is the Twitter account that he posted as, because it went dark on what was the last post? It was February 27th.
The day he went.
Generate small local field, high voltage gap, geometrically placed, allowing sustained dwell time in gap. Muon catalyzed fusion and fusion with polarized nuclei. That's my vocal warm up.
Did he have a science background?
He's an MIT scientist, actually.
Yeah, he has a PhD.
Okay.
Glow discharge hydrogenated amorphous silicon. Trying to cut down on that. Magnetic stochasticity in magnetically confined fusion plasmas. This is not the type of person, like if this guy is the same guy and he understands this, I don't imagine that he would just like get lost.
Just wonder why he started blocking everybody. Like he's blocked a ton of people from the UFO community, and that's what puzzles me the most. Like, did he go? What did he say? Like, this guy doesn't know shit, so I'll block him or something like that.
I think it just blocks hot dudes. I think that's what it is. That's all it is, guys.
I've never been
sorry you didn't get blocked.
Oh man, that means I'm ugly.
Yeah.
What is this?
Should have been to tell you for a while.
My wife is gonna fight you.
Thank God she's blind, dude.
Error in post are purposeful, if for no other reason than to piss off the first level critical thinkers, whom are smug semanticist. FOD, plug the smuggy semanticist, and then there's what appears to be an AI picture of a Tic Tac? I don't know. Really weird Twitter account, man. These posts are.
Yeah, and if you speak like the language, the lingo, like I would want to ask Missile Man if any of this makes sense. You know, like people who speak the lingo. So maybe that's why folks like Chris Sharp are interested in finding more out about this.
Interesting parallel to this case of Ning Li, the anti-gravity researcher who disappeared from her post without any kind of warning and just vanished without a trace. And there was an article, uncovering the mystery of Huntsville's brilliant anti-gravity scientist. It's just interesting. She had, in her work, Lee described a practical method of producing an anti-gravity field, which had never been done before. It's always been held that because gravity is a basic force of nature, constructing an anti-gravity machine is theoretically impossible. However, Lee and her co-author Douglas Torr theorized ways around this belief using high-temperature superconductor. In a high-temperature superconductor, the tiny gravitational effect of each individual atom is multiplied by the billions of atoms in the disk. Using about 1 kilowatt of electricity, Lee claimed her device could produce a force field that would effectively neutralize gravity above 1 foot in diameter region extending from the surface of the planet to outer space. Wow.
Yep.
She invited experts from Popular Mechanics to visit her laboratory in Huntsville to see the work in progress, a 12-inch disc which acted as a high-temperature superconductor. Upon the disc's completion, they told the magazine, a bowling ball placed anywhere above the disc will stay exactly where you left it. And she's holding the fucking disc right here. It looks like a record. It's like a vinyl.
You know what's weird about this case, though? That we have a friend. I don't know if you know him, Clint or Eric, but Dan knows him. hold on, James Landreth. He went to SCU, and that's where Ning Li was. And he went to investigate the Ning Li case directly to the police department there, and he found inconsistencies. Like there's missing records and different stories than the one that was told by the media, and that even made the case even more suspicious, and mysterious. Kudos to James for going there and like doing the field work himself. That was really cool.
Yeah.
It goes on here. This is interesting. Lee's career after 2002 is the subject of great mystery. Barely Sociable's research turned up a document showing that she gave a presentation at the 2003 MITRE conference titled Measurability of AC Gravity Fields. The MITRE Corporation manages federally funded research for several U.S. agencies. At the conference, she presented along with a Redstone Arsenal official from U.S. Army Aviation and Missile Command, meaning that her research was still being conducted up to that point. The trail on Lee ends after her last documented correspondence in May 2003, when she sent a private email to colleagues claiming to have conducted an experiment in which she observed an 11 kilowatts of output effect. The significance of that amount is still a mystery as well, but it seems like if 1 kilowatt would put a bowling ball at neutral buoyancy all the way from here to space, what would 11 kilowatts do?
Also, UAP Gerb talks a lot about MITRE Corp in his videos.
What does he say about him?
A lot. I mean, he's talked about it a lot, just as being a major player in the.
I just realized what I'm asking you to try and explain it.
Yeah, you asked me to translate.
You're asking him to
Wrong
explain
guy.
Mr. Acronym.
No one
It
can
took me
understand
6
the
years.
Gerbio.
It took me 6 years to get through high school. I'm not the guy to explain Gerb.
Yeah, everybody keeps going missing. Everybody turns up missing. This is weird.
And with the tensions in Iran and all that stuff, you can only imagine.
I'm on the West Coast expecting a drone strike any day.
Everything was fine until we hit them first, right? Like everything was fine. Like things were cool. I mean, more or less, I didn't think there was any problem. I thought we'd taken care of this months ago with the first 11 cruise missiles they launched. But now we've got a drone warning. So much fun living here right now.
Last week, I Googled, there's an app where you can Google the amount of damage that would be done. You can pick any spot in the world and pick any size nuke that you want and have it show you what damage would be done in your neighborhood or whatever. And so that's where I'm at in my headspace lately is seeing how much damage would be done if a nuke hit Hollywood, California.
That sounds so fun.
Dude, you're talking about Doom. That's some Doom for you.
Hold on, let's see if I have where's our Doom thing? Here we go. Can I do this?
There
yeah.
it is.
There it is.
Buckle up, fuckers.
Yeah.
We're about to explode.
Hold your tits. Just kidding.
Actually, I've got to run and get something out of the fridge. Can you guys fly the ship for 5 seconds?
Of course.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I want to get an update from Eric about the book.
Oh yeah.
Wow, you're gonna have to start charging me a finder's fee. You always bring this up, and
Because I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited about it.
Well, I'm really, really appreciative. So yes, UFO 1977. For those unfamiliar with it, which is most people, in 1977 there was the greatest flap in UFO history in the United States, probably in the world, from what I can tell. And surprisingly, no one's really heard of it. So I'm analyzing 141 sightings that took place that year. And the cool part about these, a lot of trained observers, particularly Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, a lot of interesting places visited, 6 elementary schools, former ICBM site, water treatment processing plant, March Air Force Base, Vandenberg Air Force Base. So these are names like we hear, but we only hear of them recently, like Vandenberg. But this stuff's been going on for quite a while, but especially in 1977. So I have 141 sightings, and yesterday I hit the halfway point of the first draft. And I really hope it comes out the first day of 2027 because that'll be the 50th anniversary of the first sighting.
Do it.
There's a correlation that I don't know if you caught already, but we know that there's the Colares incident that took place in the same year, and 78 as well, and 76. But did you know that during 1977, Dr. Andrea Puharich was also having his seances with like people like Gene Roddenberry and others, and
In LA, right?
and that at that same time that was happening, that the flap was happening. Andrea Puharich was having these seances, allegedly communicating with the Council of Nine.
I did
You
not
didn't
know
know that.
that. And that adds a very interesting component. As a side note, 1977 was also when the school in Wales was visited.
Yep.
Pembrokeshire, or I forget the name
I think
of
it's
it.
I think it's just Pembroke, right? Is
Pembroke.
Is it not?
Yeah, Pembroke. But yeah, I found 6 schools in California in just 1 year. And no one talks about this stuff. I never heard of it either until I met a guy who was one of the witnesses. And he's like, "You never heard of this stuff?" I was like, "No." And then he famously said, "California, 1977, look into it." So I took his
Here we
advice.
are. Fantastic.
Here we are.
Yep.
Can't wait.
Audience question for you guys. If Android Paranormal wants to know if he went willingly, McCasland, this is about, went into hiding. If he willingly went into hiding, why did he not take his prescription sunglasses? And why is Repairman left at home with him not mentioned? Anybody know about this?
I don't know about the Repairman thing, but I think Pavel mentioned it earlier. He left smart watch, smartphone, and glasses. And then, of course, I was listening to you guys, but I was also seeing if there were any updates. In addition to the .38 revolver, there is the holster for it missing. And then he also missing is his hiking shirt.
Yep.
Which would lead one to believe he went hiking.
Yeah, and he did it on purpose. Like he planned this. And there is also the sorry, just continue. I forgot. I lost my train of thought a little bit.
He could also have another pair of glasses. That's possible too.
Yeah,
or
that's what I was going to say.
Right.
Or contacts, also. You know.
Yeah, but you would think you would bring your glasses if you plan to be gone. He's been gone what, 2 weeks almost?
I don't think he only had one pair. Nobody has one pair when you're that age. You must have more than one.
A pair in each room.
Yeah. Today is day 15.
Which never mind. I was gonna say if he is in the elements, I wouldn't think he'd still be around at that age.
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah.
He's not that old. And he probably knows what he's doing out there.
Right now we have 2 options. Like it's 30,000 acres there, and it's very remote. So either he's somewhere there, suffered a freak accident or something, or he's hiding somewhere, or he was taken somewhere. Those are the only options by now. Like,
I feel like Air Force rescue teams would be really good at finding somebody like him, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like they would have their pararescue guys. Like they would have all the tools to locate him.
Yeah.
And
the most valuable asset they have is drones with FLIR. So the search environment is totally different than it was 15 years ago. But we know they're using ATVs, people on horseback, hundreds of volunteers, the FBI, and the San Bernardino County
dogs too.
Sheriff's
They're using
Department
dogs too.
as well, right? But this area, if people are unfamiliar with it, as far as you can see, there are no trees, right?
Yeah.
So I think that greatly increases the likelihood. I'm more familiar with people going missing in really rugged, mountainous, forested terrain where it's like looking for somebody in Guatemala on the ground. You're just not going to find them, right? But if the person is alive and wandering around, a drone with FLIR can cover a massive amount of area. Now, the other interesting thing, I'm under the impression, Pavel, correct me if I'm wrong, or anybody else, he did not leave home till like 11. Yeah. And it gets dark around 6. He's 68 years old. How far can you go in 5
Yeah.
hours at age 68 in rugged terrain? So that doesn't, he's not like 20 miles from his house if he went hiking. He's fairly close by.
Yeah. Agreed.
Here, this is his northeast heights of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Is that where it was?
Yes.
So this is some
think-
like
I mean, it's flatland. I mean, it's. I feel like if you had a few months ago, I used my first pair of like thermal goggles, and I realized, if you're looking for someone in that kind of field, like you get thermal or FLIR, like you said, you're gonna find that guy if he's there. You're gonna
Yep.
see him.
Yeah.
If you saw
Yeah.
Breaking Bad, that's the terrain that exists there.
Yeah.
On Breaking Bad.
So you would have to really decide, like, I'm going to disappear, and then make an effort to disappear. You'd have to be very methodical about it.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at it this way. Let's say you went out there hiking and tried not to be found. I don't think you could do it. I think someone will find you, even if you were trying to not be found, especially at night with FLIR. It's game over.
Yeah.
And if he committed suicide, which
Mhm.
we're not saying he did, but if he unalived himself, or if that theory turned out to be true, then you would think he wouldn't try to disappear first, right? I mean, at some point they're going to find him wherever. How far would you go?
Fairly certain that if he had taken his life,
15 days is a long.
the body would have been found by now. I'm
Right.
fairly certain about that.
Somebody would have reported something. Dogs would have found something, like,
Somebody
And
would have
how
heard a
hard?
gunshot.
How much trouble do you go to hide that?
Yeah.
They're gonna know
Right.
sooner or later. It's gonna,
And this was unclear to me. I haven't found any mention of his personal vehicle. Was it at the house? Was it at the house?
I haven't seen it mentioned either, actually.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at who else has disappeared. What was the fusion researcher, the young guy? There was a guy who was like 40 years old. Was
But he was unalived.
unalived in
The guy
his
in Boston.
Boston.
He was
Yep.
he was shot. Yeah, he was shot.
And that was in October, November, was December? It was like
Not
late
long
last
ago.
year.
Yeah.
Not that long ago.
There's this other guy from California also that
And
was
the
also
carjacking.
shot. He was he was near his house, which was very remote. Also seemed like.
Then there was
targeted.
the Tesla guy, the Tesla bomber guy. Remember him?
Yep.
Yep.
And he had all kinds of weird things he was saying.
June 2022, Amy Eskridge.
Yeah.
There's another lady that allegedly also disappeared like 2 years ago. That was part of McCasland's team that he was running. And I don't know if I can find a correlation there. Somebody asked in the chat because this happened many years ago, and she apparently did get lost also in while hiking, which was interesting. But I wouldn't go that far to make the correlation just yet because you never know.
Sometimes there are just coincidences, but yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. Sometimes there are just coincidences, and it's hard, I think, when you're looking at the UFO world to not look for connections. Everybody wants to find some kind of like huge master plan behind it all, but maybe there's not. I feel like there is, but
Yeah.
could be wrong. Huskers wants to know, fellas, love the Friday afternoon vibes. Can we get a Doom crew to dissect the latest Disclosure Day trailer? Also would like to hear your thoughts on various identified below Giza pyramid structures.
I got news about that.
Of course you do, Pavel.
I did 3 videos about that on my way to the bathroom.
So
We love you, Pavel. We love you.
you guys might
kid
wonder
because I love
that why I'm not with Matt Bell right now. I was supposed to be there in Sarasota. I was supposed to meet you in person, Clint,
Mhm.
but the whole situation in airports made me just take it back and not go. I was gonna ask Matt about this because he's directly involved. We were just talking about how there are many billionaires that fund these types of things. Matt Bell owns the Bell stores in the East Coast, and he has been trying to help financially in a number of things. One of them is he got permission. He just confirmed it like 2 days ago. He got permission to, for the first time, get a team and look into the insides of the Giza pyramid. And that is the first time that an outsider who's not part of the Egyptology community in Egypt or part of mainstream archaeology, that this is the first time that they get permission to do something like that. So this is like a first stepping stone into potentially getting permission to dig under the pyramids.
I'm
which
excited about
is
this.
huge.
Who is the authority that oversees access and like permitting to get into the pyramids? And
The
Egyptian
Egyptian government is the main authority, but there are people like who are considered gatekeepers over there. One of them is Dr. Sahi Hawass. And Matt was really smart to just approach Sahi and tell him that he wanted to fund this. And he's been struggling, like, because it's been a nightmare getting permissions, getting Sahi convinced.
It's one of the
I
most
would
protected
think-
sites on Earth. Like, no, they just don't
Yeah.
allow anyone to have any access to
which
it.
is hilarious
for
because it
research.
looks like absolute fucking dog shit and like it's awful. Like, right? I mean, like, I get it. It's like it's an amazing piece of construction, but why does it look so fucking god awful if it's such an important site?
Mhm.
Yep. And Sahi agreed. I would think that he would want to agree if the price was okay for him, I would guess. And honestly, I respect the hell out of Matt, but I don't like Sahi because he's been a gatekeeper for a long time. He's taken credit where it's not due multiple times. There was this interview he did on Joe Rogan where he kept saying, just buy my book. Like he
was
repeated
so
it like
annoying.
Is it
40
like
times.
that? Is it that there is, real strong, solid, reliable evidence that says there's something really epic underneath the pyramids? Or
Yes,
underneath the
there's
Sphinx? Like,
already a couple of discoveries that have been made. One of them is the Dr. Filippo Biondi investigation, where he used a type of radar under the Khafre pyramid, where he saw what seemed to be columns that go down about 2 miles, and then there's a huge empty space below the columns.
Chamber.
Seems like a chamber, yeah.
Yep.
And there's another like labyrinth that they did discover, also with that type of technology near the pyramids. That also is like it was said to exist for a long time, but now they discovered evidence that it does exist. So, and Chris Bledsoe alluded to this on the Y-Files podcast. I think that what he heard was from Matt Bell. That's just my opinion, because Matt has been working on this since June last year. And the announcement that they got permission from the government came 2 days ago. So it's going to just start accelerating even more. So we're going to get a lot of updates on that over the next couple of months or so.
Remember that story? Where'd that story come from with the idea of the Tic Tac being inside of a pyramid somewhere?
Well, initially, Lou
No.
said something along the lines of 747.
747. No, but there was more recently someone mentioned a Tic Tac being.
That's
It was
Borland.
Borland.
It was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did he say
On the
exactly?
Weaponized podcast.
He said, or he was told or read or during a briefing was told a Tic Tac was found in an archaeological dig.
That's right.
Is that correct, Pablo?
Okay.
Yeah, and there are images from these radars that where that labyrinth is. There seems to be a Tic Tac shaped object. Yeah,
It's so fucking
Well,
cool.
but Ross Coulthard told me that Lockheed Martin makes those Tic Tacs. That's what I heard.
I'm guessing
Lockheed's
that
been
if
around a long time, so
I'm guessing that if that's true, they probably I don't know, took it off of something like that to construct the Tic Tac. I don't know.
Well, that's it. Stephen Greer says too. He's like, oh yeah, those We've been making those since the 50s. We've got those. I don't know. He's always got, you know, there's always whatever it is. It's almost weird, like how frequently he's does that. But he's like, oh yeah, that's all us. And,
He's ahead of everybody.
Speaking of Ross, by the way, Ross made a statement last week about portals, which went crazy. I want to get your guys' temperature on where you're at with the idea of portals. Do you believe that they exist, and what do you guys think that they might be?
I think that they're going through. I think that a big feet pack is going through portals right now in Ohio, according to the news. That was a joke, but
wait, I didn't get it. Wait, what?
The news is real, though. The news is real.
The Bigfoot flap.
There's a Bigfoot flap happening in Ohio right now.
Didn't Beatrice just post something on Twitter about her hanging out with a Yeti or something? She's got a picture of her next to a giant.
Oh,
look at her Twitter feed.
Yeah, I saw it.
I don't know what that was, but you just reminded me of that.
Okay, what are your thoughts on portals?
I think they're real. I've seen so many weird little things that just kind of suggest to me that there is, at least at some degree, at some level, there are spaces that are permeable between one world and another. Now, whatever you want to call that, if that's a wormhole, fine. But there's a really interesting video from way back when of a UFO. It looked like a silver disc flying into a mountain. You guys seen this? Now I would think of it and I would look at that and go, well, that's a transmedium craft going through a solid object, but it goes straight into a mountain and then disappears right into it, like it's going through nothing, like it's a hologram. And I don't know, that could be something like that. And then there was a really cool Linda Moulton Howe interview with this guy years ago, and I can't remember his name, but I'll see if I can find it. And she's got some really fun interviews she did with weird, just really weird stories. But this guy was in Peru, and he was at this sacred site in southern Peru, and he gets to a place where there is a stone wall with a carving of what appears to be a doorway in it. And then he somehow stumbles on the proper harmonics, and I don't know how he does this, but acoustically he's able to do something that activates this portal, and he finds himself. The reason I believe this story is because of what happens next. He goes through the portal and he winds up in like a waiting room. He winds up in like an empty blank space, like in the Matrix, where they go to the loading zone where there's just like nothing there, and they just kind of stand there, and it's all like one big empty room. That's where he goes, and he's like, I was in this space and I couldn't figure out where I was, and I didn't know. I'm lost, and I'm like, where am I? And then I hear a voice, like a guy in a room, like he can see me, but I can't see him. And he's like, oh, what are you doing here? Why are you here? And then he has this back and forth. He's like, I don't know how I got here. I'm lost. And the other guy is like, okay, I think I can get you back. Don't worry. I'll sort you out. And then he comes back, and that's the story. And the whole thing wraps up, and the guy's like, I was never able to do it again. I don't know what the hell happened, but it's very like weird and unclimactic, I guess. And when I heard that, I thought that would be probably how it might work like that. Like you just go through a portal. It's like a little door in a video game, and you show up in some weird level where you have no idea where you are, some liminal space. And then,
John
whatever's
Malkovich
there.
shit.
John Malkovich shit, right? I think so.
So
I believe in that.
Do you think that portals are something that are fixed in specific locations, or can they be moved or created by us or by something else? Anyone?
I'm not there yet, honestly.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
I don't know. It's just like, and this also goes hand in hand with how.
What did Eric Davis just say on Jesse Michaels? They just talked about this with Eric Weinstein, right? Or Brett
Weinstein? Yeah. The thing is that when Ross recently has been making some really wild claims, and like he's been doing it for about a year. When Jake Barber came out, he would just like, fuck it. And he started talking about everything, really.
Mhm.
And I don't know. It's just I don't have the level of access that he has, maybe. But
I'm intrigued
if
though.
I ever, yeah. I'm not saying it's not real. It's just like I need to see more documentation and evidence that maybe Ross has seen. I don't know. It's
Well,
possible.
he talked about a portal that is behind a fence under heavy guard by the U.S. government. Did he mention where it was in the country?
I think it's in Arizona.
Southwest.
I think-
Okay.
Yeah,
Eric, where
I
are you
think
at
that's
with
where people
portals?
were alluding to.
I don't know much, and if someone were to prove them to be true, I would not be surprised. I haven't read Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, but I know there are sections in that book that discuss this very matter. It might have been Lukatsky or Colm Kelleher who used that word exactly, and that puts a lot of weight on it. I'm a big fan of those two.
Mm-hmm.
If can they move around? Well, I'm thinking, well, Jesus, if you've got a portal to another dimension, I'm sure you can move the damn thing, right? If it's that far out and that advanced. But we do have these UFO hotspots. So Santa Catalina Island and the Channel Islands off the coast of California, and Sedona and a bunch of other places. So maybe something is going on there that makes it conducive to coming and going.
I'm going to just jump to something that I think will make Dan smile. Let me see here. Here we go.
Is one of the ERBs.
Who's this guy?
It's an Einstein-Rosenbridge promoter. It uses some form of, this is found out, Jesus Christ, in the last 2 weeks. I'm asking the right questions there, I guess. It's composed of a spherical, spinning, arced, rectangular solid matrix of nickel, cadmium, and barium. There is a spinning disk underneath it, which is supercooled. Into this is injected into the center of these spinning, and I'm not a physicist, spinning disks, is injected an argon gas. Into that is injected some type of repulsion matter. It's a gravity repulsion matter. They are obtaining the gravity repulsion matter from the heavy materials that have been obtained from the J-rods, the 115 variety material.
They're getting their 115 from the J-rods. That's really interesting data point. And some of the stuff he's talking about sounds like that Twitter account that we just looked at that was rumored to be McCasland's, secret Twitter account. Listen to what he says. Einstein-Rosen are wormholes. They're portals. That's what he's talking about here.
And apparently when they bombard it with enough electromagnetism, this stuff repels gravity and it turns into some sort of exotic matter. They spin it fast enough, it opens, or they can see through it. And that is, from what I understand, the great prize in what's going on in the world right now, are those devices. Why do you think the British are running around Iraq right now looking for the climatological records that are just happen to be disappeared out of the Baghdad Museum with the rest of the cylinder seals? And you're going to see some cylinder seals today too when I show you some report.
There's another
breaking
clip
news. Breaking news.
Go.
The Steven Spielberg interview on South by Southwest is live on the link that I just showed you. On the private chat, you can play it if you want. It's the South by Southwest official channel.
If we do this, we're going to be in it for however long this is. So, how are you guys on time?
I'm wide open.
I'm okay.
All right, let's take a look here. Hang on, share this tab. Here we go. Queuing it up to the beginning.
It started half an hour ago.
It was I would extrapolate and make it much worse than it actually was. So my first experience in the world of, I guess you could just say fantasy or science fiction, not so much science fiction, more fantasy, was the films I grew up with as a little kid that my parents felt it was safe to take me to a Walt Disney film when that was the least safe thing they could have done.
I'm interested in this, but we're having a really cool conversation about other stuff, and we're going to be going through Spielberg's whole fucking life story.
I'll do a video about it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't want to lose our jam because we've got a really cool mojo right now.
Yeah, that's exciting though.
That is exciting. This is the problem, guys. Like there are literally so many things happening in this space right now that it's impossible to stay on top of it all. And we're like 12 people here, all trying to like follow this stuff every day. It's crazy.
Dan, did you give your opinion on portals? Did I miss that?
No, my opinion is that I'm in learning mode, and I don't have an opinion yet. It's something that historically I have dismissed outright because it just didn't make any sense to me. It seemed too sci-fi and too crazy. But as we learn, as we hang out in this world for a while in this topic, you kind of have to open up your belief system a little bit, or at least be open to learning new stuff. So I'm in kind of figure it out mode right now.
What do you think?
Reasonable.
Yeah, I'm confused by them.
Here's the other half of this. Let me show you this. So they tried to send a person through one of these. This is for the people playing the home game.
During a human attempt. But I was from one location. There were mistakes. Animals were attempted to transport from one location to another, the production of 2 of the devices, and they put them in resonance or something like that. I'm not a physicist. I don't know. But I was, in fact, present during a human attempt. The human did not survive. The human was not put in there under duress of any sort. It was a volunteer situation, and the human did not survive. The human did not move. The human stayed where the human was put. But the human changed, and I don't want to talk about it anymore.
This is an attempt at time travel?
It was an attempt at well, in essence, yes. It was a linear. It was a attempt to transport an individual over linear distance, which I understand is the same thing as time travel.
So earlier when he was talking about the device, it reminded me of the movie Contact, the spinning thing, and then now what he's talking about reminds me of The Fly.
Mm-hmm. The Fly. Yeah.
I mean, even with the animals getting messed up and the person getting messed up, you know.
I think there's something to portals, and I think he listen to what he said in the beginning of that clip, and I know it's, you know, I like this case a lot. I'm very infatuated with the case, and I think it's one of my favorites. So that definitely, I'm biased here, but he says, he's like, if you think about what the real prize here is, it's that technology to be able to see possible potential alternate timelines and make decisions. Like, wow.
And
I could see that.
And it should be reminded that, excuse me, in the Kona Blue document, one of the goals, and this is a direct quote from the DHS goal, remote vision, remote communication, and materialization techniques to observe, communicate, retrieve data, and transfer matter across dimensional and space-time barriers.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this guy, I'm talking about Dan Burrish. He's not making this shit up. He's not pulling this out of his ass. This guy doesn't sit there for 2 hours and fucking go on and 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 on until the break of dawn about this fucking place and everything in it and every person and every fucking thing on the wall and where shit is and like the chair and the table. Like he knows the inside of S4 the way that Bob Lazar knows about where he worked. And when I watch this guy talk and I listen to him say what he's saying, I find it very hard to believe that a person could sit there and make up a story with this amount of detail and just fucking do a Q&A and have instant recall. It just does. It's not how I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think Kona Blue document. I think we keep seeing these different people coming forward with various different aspects of the story that when looked at individually might not seem related, but when you step back and you start to look at the bigger tableau from 20, 30, 40 years ago, and you start to really examine the stories that people like Bob Dean were saying about this NATO assessment they put out. There's 4 distinct species. Greys are biological androids. They knew that shit back in 1961. At least. And they're talking about it now like it's some kind of new information. They were doing some kind of clandestine work, some kind of a survey project was ongoing on our planet. There was a race that looked exactly like us. Why shouldn't we believe that they have wormholes and portable, Stargate technology of some kind? Like at this point, I'm kind of all in on all of this stuff. We literally, every time we turn around, we're finding out some other thing that just 2 years ago would have seemed absurd is legit and totally true. The goalposts have moved so far now. It's almost like I don't even know what aspect of this conversation is still off limits at this point, where it's like everything's on the table. The Spielberg thing, right? So someone asked us to go through the Disclosure Day trailer. Did everybody here see, Eric, have you seen the new trailer for Disclosure Day?
I have not had the pleasure.
You might want to take 2 minutes. I can't show it because they won't.
No.
Okay.
They'll shut me down. But you might want to take 2 minutes and just watch it.
Okay.
And we will go through it in a second once Eric's had a chance to digest it. But
yeah, it kind of covers a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
it covers the big stuff. Now we're getting into the really big stuff: the mind control, the hybrids, remote viewing,
or bilocation.
Bilocation.
Either of those.
But psionics more broadly.
Yeah.
We get into psionics. Just the term psionics was only introduced into this lexicon 18 months ago.
Yeah, like
maybe
last January.
24 months
publicly.
ago. Yeah. 24 months ago or thereabouts, we didn't really talk about it. It was like there was some discussion, maybe some of these things communicate telepathically or whatever. And now we have a vocabulary word for it. There's a definition of what it is. We know about people who do it. We know about their protocols. We know what the standardization is, like the things they look for when they recruit these people. And there's a Steven Spielberg movie coming out that features it. What?
Yeah.
By the way, the other night, I have a photograph that I cannot share, but at the Magic Castle in LA, it was attended by Guillermo del Toro, Steven Spielberg, J.J. Abrams, and Jon Favreau, and they all sat together. Can you imagine the conversations that those guys had?
Damn.
Oh, God.
They have a chat that Del Toro already alluded to of all the greatest directors, and they like criticize each other's work, and they're like ruthless when they're talking about it. That was a really interesting reveal from Del Toro there.
I feel like J.J. Spielberg and Del Toro could have some pretty good UFO talks because Del Toro's seen something. He's had an experience.
Oh, yep, he has.
Yep. Wow,
I've got this. Hang on a second. I'm going to pull up the. I think we could do some frame by frame stills of the trailer.
Stills is fine. Just don't play audio and don't play video. But yeah, stills is fine, I think.
So it starts out kind of the same. What is this operations center? Is that a W?
Ward X. What is that?
Ward X.
Daniel Kellner, cybersecurity administrator.
Date
Sort
of
of
birth,
like an
1990. God, I feel so old.
Edward Snowden type, sort of.
Okay.
And he's the one in the movie who's supposed to like blow the cover off of stuff, right? He has the information.
Yep.
I
And
also feel
he understands the language also, so maybe he's a hybrid too.
it hints at that he has been, affected somehow.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
And then
intrigued.
she's doing this like weather thing, and then everybody's reacting to the weirdness. She
So
starts speaking their language somehow.
they're intuitive communicators. That's what Don Sherman calls them, right?
Yep.
Yeah. The thing I found most, and I don't know what will be in the film, but I found that there's no like spaceships.
There
There's
is
one shown
There is one
in this
Okay.
trailer. Yeah.
It seems like
in the last
It seems like a lot of things being implied and foreshadowing. Close Encounters came out November 16, 1977, by the way.
Yep.
Which is one of the best films ever made. I mean, you just
Ever.
period. You don't have to be into UFOs.
By the way, Colin Firth's character in this gives me strong Kit Green vibes.
Yeah.
Big time.
He's
The way
some
he
kind of
looks. Yeah.
Telepath. Yeah, they're showing him like getting into her mind. And then he's got these weird hybrid eyes.
Yeah.
And it's funny you mention that because one of the main characters, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the main characters in Close Encounters was modeled after Valet.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
This comes out, I think it said June 12.
And by the way, this guy in the movies is basically claimed to be a whistleblower. And at the end, he's in a car and they try to kill him by pushing his car in front of a train. So they
Yeah.
kind of touch on whistleblowers being taken out.
Yeah, there it is.
Pretty heavy stuff. Yeah.
Interesting.
There's a shot though of the ship that I'm trying to like land
It's near
on.
the end, I think.
It's at the end, come out of the clouds.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
But
There
you
it
go.
is.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. This is what we need. We need the Independence Day.
For society.
I think at this stage, we found out the world is literally run by demon people. Like at this stage, this is what it takes. I think it's what's going to take. You know?
Yeah.
People need something huge to really snap out of whatever the funk we're in right now as a culture. And I just think that it's going to have to be something. I think a best case scenario would probably be this, and the worst case scenario would be a mushroom cloud. But I feel like people are going to need something.
Yay.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it. Okay.
Well, can we have something in between?
I would like
imagine
that.
I imagine it will be the mushroom cloud, and then it will be that craft.
Oh, that's the worst.
Oh man.
No,
Sorry,
they
guys.
won't let that happen. They're here to help, right?
Hey, I want to ask you guys this while we have a few minutes left. Have you guys caught onto this kind of feeling in the world that there's an idea that craft are going to come and save a select amount of people, and they pick them up and take them off planet before like the event, whatever the fuck that is?
The UFO rapture. Yeah, that's the David Jacobs. Well, David Jacobs talks about it. In fact, I've got an interview with him right here where he talks about that.
The
Yeah,
black
it's getting-
triangles.
Yeah, it's getting talked about more and more. What's going on with this?
Black triangles. No, I don't know what you're talking about. What is that?
Yeah.
I mean, I know what that is,
Yeah.
but what does that got to do with it?
Those might be
massive
just, like,
black
savior
triangles
crafts.
are going to save us, or some of us, not everybody.
And that those may not be ours.
Yeah.
I mean, those might be ours.
Yeah.
This is so this is the guy we're always talking about, David Jacobs. He's the researcher who wrote a series of books. One's called Walking Among Us, one's called The Threat, and there's another one that I always forget the name of. But anyway, his abduction research focused on sort of uncovering the patterns between all of these cases that were studied during the pre-internet era, which is really important because these are people who did not know each other, did not have contact with each other, and yet had remarkably similar stories about what was happening to them. And abductions is still sort of weirdly the third rail of the UFO topic, so we don't get into it very. We try to on this channel, but not many people look at it. And so here's what he has to say about this plan and abductees' role in it. Let's just look at the clip.
Deja vu experience where two abductees are seeing each other
sessions with
and recognize each other, or someone was saying, you know what, I resonate with you, maybe I've seen you in a past life kind of thing. How do we distinguish between that and the abduction experience?
It's difficult to distinguish between people who think they have past lives or they've seen people on a higher plane of intellect or emotion or consciousness or whatever, unless you do hypnosis. By looking at people over decades, I can see change in time, I can recognize differences that are happening, I can see the progression of the phenomenon, and I've been extremely fortunate to be able to do that. There's obviously a trajectory to the abduction phenomenon. It is not an examination of people. These aliens are not interested in what makes us tick. We used to think this years ago. I used to think this years ago.
What do you think now?
This is turns out to be a program with a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it is goal-directed. And what we're looking at here is a workforce that is abducting people, and how can I just say this straight out? Creating other beings who we call hybrids, who are different stages of hybrids, although it's probably more of a smooth continuum than my stage idea, of early stage hybrids who look sort of like gray aliens, and middle stage and late stage and human stage, and then what I call hybrid, who are beings who, and this is new information, who are being trained to live here, and their training comes from abductees.
You've had the opportunity to observe a lot of patterns and a lot of information. Have you grasped an agenda by these ET connections?
There are three pillars to the abduction phenomenon. There's actually a fourth one, but I'm not including it because it's not as, well, I'm not including it. Number one, it's intergenerational. If a person is an abductee, their mother or their father, or sometimes both, were abductees. Mm-hmm. If they were abductees, almost certainly their mother or father was an abductee.
Their kids will be.
When the abductee has children, and let's just say he has 2 kids, they will be abductees. And when they marry a non-abductee, all of their children, the 2 kids' children, if they each have 2 each, that's 4, they will all be abductees. Therefore, the intergenerational aspect of it makes sure that there are plenty of abductees around. It keeps up with the population. And the second pillar is that it is global. This is not an American phenomenon. The UFO phenomenon has been noted around the world, and the UFO phenomenon is the abduction phenomenon. It is. They are one and the same, in my opinion. The third pillar is that it is clandestine. And the only way you can, in the thread, I wrote a long piece about the meaning of secrecy and how this has to be kept secret and that has to be kept secret and this and on, all the ramifications of non-secrecy and all that. It boils down to one sentence. They don't want us to know what they're doing. Global, intergenerational, secret. This does not add up to good. I don't.
Oh, Dave Jacobs.
The Threat. Check it out. Great book.
Oh, The Threat. Here, hold it up again. Hold it up.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll lose sleep. The hubris.
I agree with him. I mean, I think he's pretty spot on. I mean, I say it all the time.
Especially the intergenerational part. That's That can be regarded as fact.
People process
Yeah,
this in a
I'm
lot
sure
of
you hear that a
different
lot.
ways depending on their background and all.
There are countless people out there.
I want to, if you guys want to spend another minute on this, he says something really interesting in the next like 2 minutes. He describes some of the abductee experiences in more detail. Do you guys mind if we spend another 2 minutes on this?
Please.
Anybody care? Okay. I want to come back to the other stuff, but this is really worth looking at. Hang on. Stop sharing. Here we go. Share. Here we go.
Perhaps significantly more people out there who have claimed to have abduction experiences who will say it is a benevolent connection, a connection they love. They feel more comfortable with their family of ETs out there than they do with their family down here or their friends down here. What is that then?
They have bleed-through memories that are benevolent and wonderful and great. And for me, the way people process this in a lot of different ways, depending on their background and all. And I'm not in the life-ruining business. So if they want to think that, fine, that's fine with me. I usually don't see people who have that kind of a sense of this. I see people who really want to know what exactly is happening to them. I once had a woman who was heavily into that concept of benevolence and spirituality and all that, and related to aliens from another planet. And she came to me, and we'd agreed to do whatever session. And she was taken on board, her clothes removed, this happened to her, that happened to her, this happened to her, that happened to her, and I'm just saying, okay, what happens next? And I ask them questions about, what the next is, and then what happens next, and went on and on and on and on until she came back down. And that was it. She wrote me a letter after that saying that she was never coming back to me because she didn't want to remember the things she wanted to remember. Mm. And I wasn't leading her on. She could have remembered anything she wanted as far as I was concerned. But
let me say something to what you were saying, which I think a lot of people would react strongly hearing what you said, that unless they came to a real bona fide therapist who could validate the experience or not. If someone says, I experienced something within, how could anyone externally say to you, no, you did not?
Right. Well, I'm not going to say that. I mean, I would not say that whatever happened to them didn't happen. But if they're interested in finding out whether it actually did happen or not, the chances are that it would be a different situation for them. But if they're happy and good, as I said, there's no reason for them to come to me or to other serious researchers. They have a life that they're leading, they're happy about. That's fine.
As I said, I know significantly more who talk about experiences in their sleep on another dimension. What's your experience with that, and what do you say to those people?
I have never actually dealt with a person who came to me who had a non-physical experience. That is simply not part of the phenomenon. People are physically missing from their normal environments when they are abducted. They are not mentally missing, and other people see them in bed and all the rest of that stuff or whatever.
This is it.
That simply, I have never had that. That does not happen.
We're dealing with millions upon millions of people who are describing this phenomenon. What is it then?
Planetary acquisition through creation of human-like hybrids. In other words, from the very beginning of our knowledge of the abduction phenomenon, the Antonio Villas-Boas case in 1957 in Brazil, Villas-Boas was taken on board a UFO. He was an illiterate Brazilian peasant. We learned later he wasn't an illiterate person. We all assumed that, but he was a law student who became an attorney. He claimed he was taken on board a UFO, and this happened to him, that happened to him, this happened to him, and that happened. Then he was placed into a room with this beautiful-looking, sort of human female, and he was required to have sexual intercourse with her. Then the very next case we discovered, the Barney and Betty Hill case in 1961, they took him, this is in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, they took him into a UFO, They did this to him and that to him. They took a sperm sample from Barney and they injected a needle into Betty's navel, and she thought it might be a pregnancy test or whatever it is. Those two cases, which we did not recognize correctly, both had reproductive elements to them.
What do you mean we did not recognize them correctly?
Well, we knew that Barney had had a sperm sample, but we just thought it was an examination, just to see what things are like. If that, we couldn't think about these cases. There wasn't enough knowledge to even think about these. So it doesn't mean anything. You can't think correctly about them.
How should we be thinking, or what are you referring to now then?
Well, virtually every abductee has had, if it's a male, has had sperm taken from them, and every woman has had eggs taken from them, ova. This is a reproductively oriented phenomenon, and it has been since the beginning. What they do is they take the sperm and eggs, they put them into a container, let's call it a petri dish, and I don't know the backstory here, and they alter the sperm and egg, a sperm and egg fertilized, they alter it, and now I'm going to say something that is probably not true, but makes some sort of sense. With alien DNA. I do not know whether they put alien DNA in it, and I do not know whether aliens have DNA. So, but well, for the purposes of argument, we'll say that. They then take the zygote and implant it in the woman. At 10 or between 10 and 12 weeks, before she really begins to show at all, they remove it. And they place the fetus into a nutrient tank, of which there might be 100 nutrient tanks lined up in a room, or 50, or sometimes even more than 100. And from that, when they take the baby out, the baby looks either very human, but somewhat hybridy, but somewhat alien-y, or half and half, or more human than alien, or much more human than alien, or even human and not alien. And I have different stages that I've thought about, but it's probably more of a smooth continuum. And the question is, why are they doing that? Because from the very first cases we ever discovered, there was that reproductive aspect to it, and it has remained rigidly constant throughout the decades. Absolutely. Now, the latest information is that these beings are, in fact, that the ones who look truly human and who are human and who look absolutely average are moving into towns, into apartments, between the ages of 17 and around 23 or so, in 2s and 3s and sometimes in 4s. And some of them are moving in independently into an apartment. They are using abductees to help them assimilate themselves into what normal human society is. Now there's a backstory to this too as well, what happens when they're children and all that. And there's only one very slight, hardly noticeable difference between them and us. They can control us neurologically, make us think anything that they want us to think, make us say anything they want us to say, make us do anything they want us to do, and we cannot do that to them. That makes us a second-class species, not a citizen, but a species, and them a first-class species.
Do they walk among us?
Sleep well, everybody.
Nighty night.
I think so. I've been on board with the Walk Among Us since the 90s. I'm all in on that.
That is one of the most uncomfortable interviews. There's a longer cut of that where he talks about these people, like before they come to him or before they start seeking help with whatever's going on, what they're experiencing. And he says it's like, they'll come in and they'll be like, one minute I'm walking into the store to get a dozen eggs and a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread, And I go into the store and I'm walking up to the dairy aisle. And as I'm walking up, the next thing I know, I blink and I'm in my car and I'm in the parking lot of a different restaurant in another town. And this happens like every couple of weeks, you know, where they'll just blank out and they black out and they wake up someplace else. And it's as if no time has passed. And once that happens a number of times, they'll try to find some help, and then eventually they'll find their way to somebody like who was doing what he was doing at the time, or just other strange experiences. You know, just really weird little missing time. A lot of missing time. I mean, it's, you know, there's a. I think it's really interesting that the most recent trailer for this Disclosure Day movie kind of looks in that direction a little bit. Because if what he's saying is true, and if this does bear out, and there are hybrids here, you know, you just heard David Jacobs tell you they have like a plan. They have a system for moving people in, how they learn to do things that look and appear like humans. How do they blend in? There's a whole strategy for this, and there's a whole like a mentor program with abductees where they come in and they learn what it is they're supposed to do. And that's chilling to me. That's very chilling. That seems like, I don't know which one of you was saying it in the beginning of the show, but like the most unsettling thing you could tell people would be that. That would break the world for sure.
Just think of how weird that would be.
Is that why disclosure hasn't happened?
I don't know.
I told you, I've decided. I think the hybrid thing is a major, if not the biggest part of the entire conversation. It's been made very clear to me that there is a U.S. government genetics program, which I would think would have to tie into some kind of NHI genetics or hybrid program. Genetics are the thing.
Yeah, and these biological components of abductions, just like he said, they're just boilerplate at this point. It's common. You know, he mentioned how many people could have been abducted. Millions. There's a very interesting gentleman I had the pleasure of interviewing a couple years ago, Dr. Ron Westrom, professor emeritus of sociology at University of Chicago, who has studied this phenomenon. And he also said, he's like, oh, it's millions, which I just couldn't believe.
Millions?
That's what he thinks. And that's what Jacob said.
How many people don't talk about it? How many people would never mention it?
Most.
Yeah. That was the part of the clip I was trying to find. He says 90%. So think of all the people we know of. Wow. What was that survey that went out? That Ed Mitchell? Didn't he send one out? That was like famous for, they were trying to assess how many people they thought had contact. And they did a survey and they found, you know, it was some dramatically high number. But I like how Jacobs drills down on that and he goes, no. I'm not talking about like, oh, I think I had a foggy dream wherein I had a, you know, strange interaction with a mystical being that I interpret as a whatever. There's no fuzziness. There's no, like, there's a hard edge to what he's talking about. He's like, no, these people are physically missing from their environment. They are not there. Other people can't find them. They're just gone. You know, they're not in the house. There's no one. And there's a missing time element for the family. And then for the individual, there are, you know, physical things that are noticeable about them, that, you know, markers and things that they can find on their bodies. And I just think that's very, in a time where we have so much vague information, what he had to offer was something much more specific and grounded in some kind of, I don't know, logical reasoning. He just seemed like, the whole question I want to get at is, what are they doing here? What are they doing here? They're here. And I've heard a million times, they're not here to harm us because if they were, we would be dead. Okay, that's fine. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's true. But that doesn't answer the more important question of what is their function or their goal. And in a post-disclosure world, or in a post in a new reality where this is common knowledge and it's part of our everyday lives, like how are human beings expected to frame all this? Like, what is the preferred framing? You know, there's going to be a day after, and then a week after, and a month after, and people are going to have to go on with their lives, and we will. But I just wonder, like, is that partly what we're seeing right now? Some kind of weird effort underway to like make sure that when we think about this, we do it in very specific terms? Or do you think it might be more random and unpredictable?
If I'm honest with you, I think that the majority of the population doesn't want to think about any of this because of fear, obviously. But I don't think the majority of the population can fathom these concepts. They're not used to it. I think that's why conversations like the one we're having now and others are necessary, but people need to pay attention if they are really interested. I don't think they are. I think they prefer living inside their own bubbles, inside their comfort. Unfortunately, that's where we're at. Like, if the population that is interested in UFOs has grown since 2017, I would say that before 2017, less than 1% was interested. And I would say that it has grown to about 5% of the entire world's population. That's still not enough, in my opinion.
It's a lot, though.
Yeah,
That's
it is a
big.
lot.
That's big. I mean, that's it. I think it's fully mainstream at this point. When we've got a Steven Spielberg movie coming out called Disclosure Day, I think we've crossed the Rubicon. I don't think you've had two former, a former president, a sitting president, and a former presidential candidate all in 7 days time acknowledge the reality. I think we've had our disclosure moment. I think it's been disclosed. You know, it's kind of what Lou Elizondo was saying way back when. He was like, look, no, it's real. Corbell says it all the time. He's like, I done disclosed it for you. So then it's like, okay, well, now what? And I'm waiting for that other part of the conversation to come into play where, you know, I understand Eric Burleson is going to go check out these hidden sites and, you know, the members of Congress are going to go look for the nuts and bolts part of it. I just hope that, you know, at some point their line of questioning turns to, all right, 4 distinct races. What are they doing? What is their purpose? Can I, do you guys have like 15 more minutes to go over this demon thing, the Sean Ryan demon thing?
Hell yeah.
Pavel's
Yes.
you sure?
Yes. Yeah. I'm not talking about the time. I'm reacting to what you just said about demons.
Oh, the demons. Yeah. Okay. So I want to share this clip. It was a very interesting interview with Father Chad Ripperger. I hope I'm saying that right. Who is a guest on the Sean Ryan show. And they're talking about the situation in the world right now. And this particular guy is all in on demons. So we're going to hear the Catholic, I guess, perspective of what these demon folks think is going on here. Let's take a look.
What do you think about all of that?
Well, obviously, some of the UFOs can be explained by some of them by governmental experiments and things of that sort, which people are not necessarily used to. However, usually when you get into stuff like the abduction cases and things like that, I actually did a conference on this more recently, where I parsed out 10 different ways in which, if you actually look at like abduction scenarios, that in point in fact, those abduction scenarios, if you actually look at what the aliens are supposedly doing, is identical to the same things that demons do to people who are possessed. So if you strip the veneer of the alien aspect of it off, that in point in fact, what you're dealing with is they're just demons. There's actually a book too, I don't know if you've heard about it, it's called Alien Intrusion by Gary Bates. And in that book, first of all, he debunks a lot of the sightings that people have actually, the footage and the things of that sort. It's a bit dated of a book, but in there he talks about the fact that too, that people who are in these abduction situations will actually cry out to Jesus, and then boom, all of a sudden the abduction situation stops and they're sitting back in their bed or whatever the case actually is. So there's a lot of demonic stuff on that level. There's some that speculate too that some of the craft that we see moving in ways that are contrary to physical laws is also just a diabolic mirage, which they can cause. It's that type of stuff is extraordinarily rare because God doesn't usually permit it, but that can actually happen. So that's kind of just my general thoughts in relationship to it, that a lot of this stuff, not all of it, but a lot of this stuff is just diabolic in nature.
What does God say about it? Does God say that we are the only beings in the universe?
Well, I mean, ultimately, we don't have absolute certitude other than the fact of what we read in Genesis. So in the book of Genesis, the creation of life is actually restricted or seems to be focused here on Earth and nowhere else. My own basic observation is if you look at what NASA is doing and their studies and things like that, everywhere they look, they think, oh, we might have found life. We might have, and then they didn't, of course. And I think what we're discovering is that other than here, the universe is sterile. Now, in theory, God can do whatever he wants, but at least from a scriptural point of view, but then also even science, I think, is starting to prove it out too, is that we're getting to the point where we're starting to realize that this seems to be the only place that you're going to, that it seems to be the case. A lot of times too, the idea that there's life elsewhere is heavily rooted in the evolutionary hypothesis, because there's evolution here, there must be everywhere, even though their theories of evolution are not only just scientifically problematic, but just even theologically and philosophically problematic. But that all being said, that's where it's rooted in, I think.
With all I'm sure you've seen some of the Epstein stuff. Have you been following that at all?
A bit, from a distance, yeah.
That seems like some type of satanic ritualistic type stuff that was going on there.
Yes, actually. And actually, the stuff I've read about as far as to the degree that I can have certitude about what you can find on the internet, that stuff that was going on there, and just the layout of the island gives an indication that it was heavily involved in the occult. The other thing I should mention too is that people don't get heavy into that type of thing. It's the same thing that we've seen elsewhere, where guys who suffer from homosexuality and they're active and they're very heavily active, it very often degenerates into ritualistic sex. It's the same kind of a thing there
I am not agreeing with this dude on this shit, so I just want to point out, like, this is fucking whatever his name is. This is his thing. So please don't come at me, guys.
Eventually degenerates. Satan ends up just driving them because these they're so disordered that he gets involved, and then he drives it more towards a ritualistic kind of an approach. So if it wasn't ritualistic, I'd be surprised.
I mean, there's just so many questions about what's going on, and it seems like nobody high up, nobody that could actually do something about this is going to. In fact, they're just trying to cover it up. In fact, our mutual friend who brought you here today, I mean, we've had a handful of discussions about distractions and all the distractions that are going to come to try to take our eye off of the satanic ritualistic abuse that Epstein did, and all of his people that were involved with him.
Right.
And before any of this came out, our friend said, I think it'll be aliens. And then, and then we see former President Barack Obama go on some random podcast and say, "Oh yeah, aliens are real." And I brought this up. I've been really angry about this stuff, and I went up to our oak tree and did a little rant about it and said, you think this is a coincidence that they're all of a sudden a former president goes on a random podcast that nobody's ever heard of and says that aliens are real, right in the middle of the biggest, most elite pedophile ring in the entire world, while that's being unfolded.
Right.
And then you fast forward about a week And of course, then President Trump comes out and says something about, oh, what President Obama did was illegal. He shouldn't be talking about aliens. I don't know the exact quote, but he came out and said that. And then I have people, former guests that have been on the show, some of them that I've been trying to get on the show that haven't come, that are in the alien UFO anomalous activity, realm, and they're saying, oh, look at this. Oh, look, maybe the Epstein stuff is a distraction from the alien UFO. And to me, that is no way. Like, right. I am not taking my eye off of that ball. Don't try to distract me with this bullshit. And I mean, what do you think about that?
I totally agree with you. Actually, for this particular reason, there's kind of a bit of a backstory. So one of the tactics that the demons always use is, and very often use, is they rarely do a frontal assault on a particular individual. What they'll do is, and this is a diversionary tactic, which being a military man, you would be able to appreciate this. You're over here, you just lob bombs over here, so the people's focus goes over here. And what that does is that gives you the ability to maintain your activity over here and maintain your influence. So the demons will very often, so for example, one of the things that we commonly see is it's a demon of fear that actually drives things like sins against the sixth commandment, pornography, and things of that sort. So he'll drive the person to do that. But the real root problem is a demon of fear. So once you address the demon of fear, then this stuff just clears out. Well, this same type of tactic is actually going on. They want you to not pay attention to what's really going on or what's really in the background, because that's where their vulnerability is, at least in the relationship that's diabolic. So it has that same kind of a complexion. So you've got this situation where the Epstein stuff starts to kind of come to the surface, and then all of a sudden there's this diversionary tactic that's used to get everybody, because now virtually nobody's talking about Epstein. So you just get that diversionary tactic over here. And, as you know, the American people have, a lot of American people have the memory of a goldfish, which is like 11 seconds. So as soon as you've got them looking at this thing, now they're paying attention to this. And of course, the whole alien things, I think, is just a ruse anyway. It's just a way for people to get focused and interested on that. On the other hand, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the world elite didn't want to use the alien things from the point of view of, if you listen to the people who have been alienly abducted, it's always like the aliens are always telling them, oh yeah, we're here to save humanity. Well, that's Jesus Christ's role, not aliens. We're here because human beings can't save themselves, and we're here to basically usher in a new era. Yeah, that's because the elites want to get away from or at least the demons want to get away from Christianity as the ruling ethos that affects, the world cultures, etc. So the very same things that the demons actually want is the same type of stuff that you hear the aliens actually talking about and going into. So for me, it just looks like a diabolic diversionary tactic, not necessarily in the sense that the people that are doing this diversionary tactic, the human beings doing this, are thinking that, they're thinking in terms of diabolic necessarily in doing this. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean that the demons can't be using them precisely to that end, because the demons do not want people to become focused on the moral degeneracy, because then they'll start demanding change, and the demons don't want the change. They want this degeneracy because it empowers them.
No matter where.
Okay, that's the gist. What do you guys think about this? This is a very interesting insight into a theologian's perspective on the alien situation right now, and I'm studying it that way. What's your take?
When you're married to like one specific view or lens, it's like impossible to stray from your belief system. And this guy is so like, Jesus is the way, God is the thing, creationism is the key. It's impossible for this guy to fathom other stuff. So it's interesting to see him talk like that, but I disagree with so much of what he said, but it's intriguing. But he's just so fixed on his story.
What's interesting too is that the Catholic Church is known to have helped facilitate the transfer of the Magenta Italy crash retrieval disc to the Americans post World War II, and they held that under Mussolini had it for a period of time. And not only that, but the Catholic Observatory, their astronomy program is one of the best in the world. And their observatories are some of the best in the world. Like they have some of the best scientists in the world work for the Catholic Church. And I think I don't remember who it was that's in charge of the of their space sciences that they do, but Danny Sheehan has mentioned this a number of times that they have put out public statements on this matter, and they have left it wide open. They are like, we are not taking a position against the possibility of this being aliens. So it's interesting to hear this guy who looks like, I mean, I don't know what this set looks like, a kink.com set. I don't know what's happening in the background here, but he's very serious, very like, you know, committed to this.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
You don't know what I'm talking about. But this is weird, right? To hear like this whole thing. And I wonder to what extent the people who are, we hear about now, these rumors of people in the Pentagon that are saying, oh, no, we can't look at this. We gotta, you know, go a different direction.
Has anyone ever known anyone who claims to be Collins Elite? Does anyone know anyone who's ever spoken to someone who's in the Collins Elite? Like, do we have any actual names or proof of this being a thing?
There is a documentary about a different group called The Family. Have we talked about, I think we've talked about this.
Sounds familiar.
It was a Netflix documentary. I think it's called The Family, and it's another group. They're known as The Family, and it is a affiliation, like loose affiliations of like senators and powerful Christian figures in the Christian right and people in government that basically have a handshake agreement to help each other enact policies that are friendly to their worldview. And they arrange for things, they hook each other up, they make sure that, you know, they've got, they open doors for each other and stuff. It's like in, well, you saw One Battle After Another. It's like that group. They all have like tunnels under their house and they can call a meeting, and it's kind of like that. And it's called The Family. You can watch the documentary, and they really do get into just how powerful this group is and what they do. So I imagine the Collins Elite is just like that. Maybe it's a subgroup or some kind of, I think what we're finding out now is, like, regardless of what your political affiliation is, there are deeper societies that actually run the world. And these people are almost all categorically fucking evil. That's what Epstein did for me, was just blow that wide open. And now I'm looking at all of these people, and I don't want to weigh in on like, are they aliens or are they demons or whatever, before we answer the question of like, why are all of the most important people in the world associated with the most like heinous evil crime anyone can imagine, and somehow we're not doing anything about it? That's really weird. I don't know.
So my godfather worked for many decades with an exorcist from Mexico, from Guadalajara. And out of the conversations that we've had about this, because I'm naturally, I grew up not really believing in that. And he kept saying that it was real. Out of all the conversations that I had with them, and then I started doing what I do on Psicoactivo, I realized that there might be a correlation between people who are supposedly possessed and the work that Dr. Gary Nolan is doing in the basal ganglia and the caudate putamen. Talking to people who like know about the Dr. Gary Nolan's work, it seems like some of these people have that area of the brain way more activated than other folks. And what is happening there is that their antennae is all over the place, and they're picking up signals from who knows what. And if we go back to the more baseline explanation of what may have happened thousands of years ago when all of that ancient scripture was written, I would say that a lot of that ancient scripture is just interpretation of something they did not understand back then. There was something supernatural probably, or like related to cosmic beings, or probably ETs or something, but people at the time only had the culture at the time to interpret things. So a lot of that scripture that is trying to be interpreted now, because look at it this way: Islam, Christianity, and Judaism all have their own fundamentalist ideologies. All think that there's some sort of end times prophecy going to happen. But the funny part is that each of them have their own version of it, and they all think that theirs is the truth. And I think that that just has to do with interpretation. And for me, this concept of a demon and also angels, it's just like beings probably that are not human, that were just labeled as such. And that whole misinterpretation of ancient texts from all of those three religions has played a major role in perpetuating these definitions. But I don't think, honestly, I don't think that anybody living today knows exactly what those things truly are. But they obviously have zero issues with labeling them as demons or angels, but nobody really knows. If we go back to the baseline, it's just like they're probably beings that are not human, that interacted with humanity back then, and people who tried to explain or anthropomorphize what they saw deemed them as demons or angels based on positivity or negativity.
Yeah,
if you
demons
think
also.
about-
Oh, go ahead, Clint.
No, go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say that demons also, to me, feels like a bit of a cop out, because whenever they're labeled demons, it becomes like they're demons. We don't talk about it. Like, just leave it alone. It's a very easy way to kill the conversation rather than have to answer questions. Like, it's demons. We know it's bad. Leave it alone. Rather than, what is this? Let's find out. And
Yep. And it's with my godfather, I've been having back and forths about this, and I've asked him, I'm like, is this like possibly just interpretation? And he starts describing to me how people become possessed, and a lot of that description fits into many of the abduction experiences and many of the like lost time and weird sleepwalking and all of that. It fits right into the same patterns. So I wouldn't go that far as to just say, oh, I am 100% sure they're demons. You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
What's interesting to me about the Catholic Church as an organization is you have this organization that is thousands of years old, that has historically had some of the most educated people in whatever area where they are. I mean, they're the people keeping records. They're the people, that can read and write. These are the folks that have an ongoing bureaucracy that goes on for centuries, and they are keeping tabs on what goes on under the umbrella of the Catholic Church, right? So there's this organization, and it's keeping records, and they're paying attention, and they're sort of administering this huge religious empire. And they have got an archive that is filled with historical artifacts, and I bet you they have more information in that archive than the United States government has in anything that we would want to look at. And so I think it's really interesting that that's the Catholic Church. That's my assessment of, and I'm not a Catholic, practicing Catholic, and I don't know anything about it. So if there's someone out there with a better grasp on this, please correct me if I'm getting any of this wrong. But this is just my gut instinct. And when we talk about contact being a ontological shock, I think on an individual level, one-on-one, people could process it. I think what they're really driving at, like Bigelow and some of these other people, the Rand Corporation and study groups that have looked at this, what they're talking about is control structures. the framework that undergirds our whole society would be challenged by the sudden appearance of what we would interpret as a superior being. That being would call into question all our prior notions of what are angels and demons, what are humans, what is the hierarchy of life and beings, and where do we fit on that ladder? And it would immediately, all of that stuff would be on the table in a way that it has not ever been before. And I think as an organization, if you're the Catholic Church, that would definitely be a concern. You would want to, you would either want to get ahead of it and frame it so that these are demons, we're the good guys, you know who to call. Right. Or, you'd want to make sure that, that you control the outcome in a way that somehow doesn't, and there's a larger good here too, because at the end of the day, whenever two societies that are, completely different come into contact with each other, it's never harmonious. It doesn't just there's no historical example of it just being awesome.
But if we get that, in so many ways, we have to start over from scratch with a lot of things, with history and with biology and our place in the world and the universe, and religion has to start over from scratch in some ways, and just kind of relook at everything through the new lens with new information that we have about reality and about science and nature.
That's what pisses me off about this predisposition that we have as humans. I think it's an evolutionary trait that we're eventually going to leave, is that whenever we see something that we consider a higher intelligence, or above the food chain than us, a lot of people instantly go to, oh, it's probably a deity. And it's like, why? I just don't, that doesn't sit well with me ever. And I am pretty scared, if I'm honest with you, because of many of the cautionary tales that have happened before. And we're seeing it now happen with the Bledsoe family, that there's a lot of people that just confuse a lot of this. And people just start worshiping and following false idols. That's what it is.
You just nailed it, man. Some percentage of all population groups, wherever you look, are going to be into this idea. There's just some percentage of people that are going to be, okay, I'll worship them as gods. Why not? That's going to break things up. There's no getting away from that. There's no way that we harmoniously as one human family all move in the same direction. We just are not capable of that. So there's going to be factions, and there's going to be schools of thought around this and different perspectives, and it's going to be really chaotic and weird, I imagine.
And it will spawn new religions.
I gotta hold on a second.
It will. And the whole Raelian movement, that's already it reached levels that it's pretty wild, because this guy was attempting to clone people. This guy had his own sex cult. He had his own harem where he
sounds
could
like Epstein.
choose from. Yeah.
Epstein was getting he was into some cloning shit.
And it keeps happening though. It's why do we keep falling for that trap? And it's temptation, I think. I think it's part of it.
You asked why do we keep falling for it? Tell me when humans have ever learned any lessons. I mean, really, what have we learned and never done again?
I mean, personally, we do, but en masse, it's kind of impossible.
That's what
we never have.
Individuals learn lessons all the time, but as a civilization, we know what's right and what's wrong, but we ignore it every single day.
And it's partly why, for example, Graham Hancock says that we're a species with amnesia. That's part of it. It's because we just don't learn, and we keep fucking each other up in many different ways, we keep putting borders everywhere. We keep thinking nationalistically. It's fucked.
And on that note, have a great weekend, everybody.
Yay!
It's been Friday the 13th. Doomer Friday the 13th.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Our task for the weekend is nobody get blown up by.
So before we leave, I just want to let you guys know what's cooking today, because everybody's going to go to different things. I know what I'm doing. I'm watching the Spielberg thing. I'm watching Grant Cameron on Area 52. And Burleson is going to be on Weaponized. It was just announced. I think it just started. So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Quick news update for people who are interested in this, just because I had this in my notes to share today. This was just an interesting story. Let me see here if I can pull it up. Bill Shatner, Captain Kirk, undergoes surgery, 94 years old, after a devastating horse accident where he fell off a horse and shattered his shoulder. And yeah, man, that's awful. I grew up watching Star Trek, and I love Bill Shatner. He's one of my heroes.
mean, yeah, it's awful, but like, dude, don't go on a horse at 94 years
90.
old.
Yeah.
Like, what
Maybe
happened
it's a
to
bucket
him,
list
like,
thing, man.
That's what
Who knows?
happens. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He thinks
Get
he's
well soon,
TJ
Bill.
Hooker, like attached to an
Yeah.
LAPD quad car
Yeah. Yeah.
for a week.
Yeah. Anyway, well, that's just yeah. We hope you get better soon, Bill.
well
That's
shot.
Star Trek is one of the very few examples that we have anywhere in media of a very positive and wholesome vision for a future that humans can be proud of and excited about. And I think that we really owe Gene Roddenberry and everyone who's contributed to that franchise over the years. One thing that's really special about Star Trek, and I can't mention it enough, I know I talk about it a lot, is that the amount of love that people have for that franchise, and just not only the fans, but the people who work on it. It's truly a life-changing show. And I think that, not to puff it up too much, but in a time like right now where things are so bleak and depressing, one of the things that I miss about that series was an optimistic, hopeful vision of the future. And it was something that's like, we're going to get there one day. And I feel like we could use a little bit more of that now. So anyway, yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
So on that note, I said it last week, but I urge people to watch the movie on Hulu called In the Blink of an Eye. Just came out a couple weeks ago. It is a very positive feeling for a possible future that we could have if we try to take it.
In the blink of an eye.
Yep. Fantastic.
If we
movie.
try.
Yep.
If we try. Anything else, guys, before we wrap up? I think we got to call it. We're going on 3 hours now.
I'll just say again,
Great.
I love you guys.
Oh,
Yep.
man. Love you too.
The
Love
best
you
part of the
too.
week every week.
Yep.
It's better
Oh.
without Xander, I think.
Don't be
Don't say
mean.
that.
Oh, way better.
It's way better.
We couldn't even get out the door. I couldn't even tie my fucking shoes without Xander. I was trying to like get the show started. I hit the go button. I literally, it's one button. It's not even that hard. I click it and the whole thing fell apart. Yeah, we miss you, Xander. Come back, please. And Xander will be back next week. He's never taken a day off. This guy has like never. Real quick, also, just while I was going through links for the show and looking at other stuff, this thing popped up on Fox, which is very interesting. Space war. Trump unleashes space technology, quotes, on Iran.
Oh,
One day ago. And then it's got a Space Force thing behind him, a very politically neutral looking thumbnail. And yeah, it's an interesting 15-minute segment. It's actually 16 minutes and 43 seconds, and they're going into detail about some kind of classified space technology that he is using on Iran. So I'm going to take a look at this. It's one of my deep dives this weekend.
And to your listeners too, guys, go support Pavel and Clint on Patreon. The guys are doing some cool stuff on there.
Oh yeah, thanks.
stuff.
I didn't go there because we were just talking about so many other things. But we are. I one thing that I'm doing that I've been working on for months now is about to be completely ready to. Well, it's ready. It's about to launch. I had to put some infrastructure in place and do a little organizing on my end to get this thing ready to go. So I'm going to be launching it on Patreon first. And for anybody who's really interested in that, it's super cool. Dan knows what it is.
Yep.
And I'm super excited about it. So that's my pitch.
Yep.
So
go support these guys, folks.
And go subscribe to Others from Another Mother.
Yes.
Dan's amazing show and Rareform Radio.
Thanks.
And
I can see Dan.
I'm gonna start getting busier on the Others from Another
I
Mother.
can see
I got
Dan
plans.
like interviewing celebrities and rock stars about this topic, which is what I want to see on your show eventually.
Yeah, that's my hope.
That'd be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a cool guest coming in this month. A really awesome actress who has some cool stories.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Oh, and I'm going to give one more quick plug to our friends over here at Contact in the Desert. We are going to be there, the Night Shift Away team. Most of us, not everybody's going to make it, but we're going to try to get as many as possible. We'll be there. And that's coming up on 5/28 through 6/1. And some really great speakers. It's going to be Jacques Vallée, Eric Davis, George Knapp. Jeremy's going to be there. Diane Hennessy Powell's going to be there. Beatrice Villarreal, Avi Loeb, everybody. Richard Dolan, Chris Ramsey, the whole kit and caboodle. So if you guys are planning on going, get your tickets soon because the price of oil is going to be about, I don't know, $500 a barrel by the end of next week. So I would jump on those. And if you want to attend the event, you can use the discount code NIGHTSHIFT5, Night Shift and the number 5 to get a discount on your tickets to Contact in the Desert. And I've already got my Contact costume picked out. Very excited.
Let me guess, a sleeveless Night Shift shirt?
No, I'm going as Robert Dean.
Yes, dude.
I've got the medallion. I've got my UFO.
Man.
Yeah.
Get your mullet. Make sure you get your mullet.
black
Otherwise, it's not going to
turtleneck.
be
Turtleneck, right? And then the necklace on the outside of the turtleneck. And then you got to let the Sean Connery beard. I'm doing it.
Good luck keeping Pavel off of you.
That's why I'm doing it. All right. We'll wrap it up. Eric, anything you want to say to the people before we go?
No, it's always great to be here. Great conversation again. A lot of times I'm content just listening. I think this is some high level intellectual stuff, no matter what people say about us.
Well, you
It's
are
fun.
always welcome. You always have a chair at the Night Shift table. And I have to say, like, one of the most frequent comments that we get whenever you're on the show is how much people appreciate the energy you bring to the show and the vibe. You have a sober assessment of things that, like, just people really appreciate it. And I think it's very grounding in a
100%.
topic that is so crazy. We need
Well, I appreciate that very much, and I plan to be here next time as well.
it. All right, gang. We're going to go ahead and wrap it there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment for us in the comments and let us know what you think. Do hybrids walk among us? I think they do. I think I'm all in on hybrids. As a matter of fact, hang on. If I'm clever here, I ran a poll in our chat. Let's see if I can get to it real quick before we end, and I'll tell everybody what the poll said. Do they walk among us? We're going to find out right now, guys. Hang on. According to our survey,
I bet 65%.
Yeah, good guess.
survey says 70% say yes, hybrids do walk among us. They walk among us, folks. Settled.
big number.
Fact. It's a fact. We have it here.
Facts. They walk among us. All right. So that's your homework for the weekend. Go out, make friends with a hybrid, send out a telepathic signal. Let them know that you're friendly, you mean them no harm, and you just want to hang out and talk about their cool ships. And, you know,
You can flirt with them if you want to.
By the way,
Nords.
do you guys hear when Chris Ramsey said that when he's at an airport, he'll like sit quietly and put out a message to anything around him that might hear what he's thinking? If there's a hybrid around, he'll do it in public all the time to like, hey, if you can hear me, come say hello. I'd love to talk to you. He's had no hits yet, but he does it every time he's in a public spot.
I'm going to start
like
doing
that.
it.
Yeah.
Cool idea. Yeah.
By the way, that poll, it is guaranteed the remaining 30% are all hybrids. That's conclusion.
They're on to us. They're on to
We know
us.
who the hybrids are. That's who bought those last 2 seats at the the show in Austin. Yeah,
Those last
2
two
hybrids.
upper right seats.
Yeah,
Sneaky
Mork and
fuckers.
Mindy. All right, guys, that's it for now. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. And until next time, this is Night Shift saying,
Come say hybrid.